perfectly honest, though, like this month is really running too fast, far too fast. It was July 2 days ago, and before those 2 days, it was June. And in a simpler timeline, we were just yelling about red cards and whether or not this summer was a disappointment or not. Spoiler alert: maybe it was. We'll talk about that later. But today we're talking about hope, excitement, transfers. Which ones excite you? We have On the Rise with us. We have me. If I seem a little frantic, I've been editing for the last 3 days, so like I am on edge. I don't like it. I understand why I don't do it, but good sir, how are you doing today?
Not too bad. Flurry of transfer rumors. The new club in the CPL set to come. It's a great time.
Right, that happened too.
Yeah, I
That
think
happened too.
it all just
Dude,
drops in a matter of like a day or two, and like, how can we keep up?
and not even on like a Friday dump where it's like, by the way, we're going to Quebec, guys. Happy weekend, everyone. No, it was just on a Quebec for the CPL. Let's actually start there because that's intriguing to me. I would say it's long overdue. I'm wondering. There's a part of me that's always just you know what? I want to be the disturber. Diana Matheson, could you expand into all the places that the CPL said they were going to prove a point? Could you do that, please? Like, put a team in Windsor. Just honestly, Diana, put a team in Windsor just for kicks. And London, do that. And Barrie, and Simcoe, and I mean, you already beat them in Montreal. There's only
Saskatoon.
do it, Diana. Please do show them it can be done. But CPL to Montreal, long overdue, especially when we look at just the geographic makeup of the league, right? You have the Wanderers and then nothing. And then Ottawa, York. I was about to call them Toronto. That's a whole branding conversation. Um, Hamilton, and then we go out. The one comment I did see, which was kind of intriguing to me, was just the notion of it's exciting that they're moving forward to try to get a team in Quebec, but I can't help but think of, say, for instance, we got the Vancouver team and immediately Edmonton was gone. And I look at Valor and I'm concerned because I feel like instead of an expansion, there's a thought that this could be a like for like. But outside of those negative thoughts, how do you feel about Quebec adding a CPL team
Uh,
into the CPL? Yeah.
Just echoing you, it's long overdue, right? Like this is the province and one of the top two provinces of producing talents within this country. You look at Quebec, you just see players after players after players exported out of Quebec and straight into the CF Montreal Academy or right into CF Montreal's first team. And right now, there's a lack of a pathway for players or young youth kids out of Quebec to branch to that professional level. And we've seen it so well with the CPL already with your Cavalry, Forge, all these
Mhm.
teams doing a brilliant job of bringing through young Canadians at a young age and then moving them on. And we've seen a great example with Joel Waterman, and he's just flourished from there, and he's made a great move himself. But with Quebec having a team, young kids within Quebec are going to be able to have that exposure to try to break into a professional outlet or to their academy or whatever this new side in Quebec tries to do within their foundations. But it's now just something for them to look forward to, something for them to branch into. And I think that's a key thing within any province in Canada, right? You have Valor in Manitoba, you have all these other teams within the province, and you just need that in Quebec, especially with how much talent it produces.
I do agree. Again, giving players more opportunities, more outlets, truly more pathways is really the word I was looking for. I think it matters, especially when you have, I mean, with a lot, wherever you have MLS teams, there's always a thought of, well, you're not going to catch everyone. And the one thing I will always say with the CPL, I think the CPL will have arrived in the country when a young soccer player will look at that league as a viable option to say, hey, okay, I can go there instead of the MLS, which we're kind of seeing that. Sholajimo, prime example of that. Even a player like Kwesi Poku was at a TFC, left, goes to Forge, gets his move. Unfortunately, he's injured. But giving them more pathways, I think, will ultimately help. We do need to broaden how we look at the game here. It is still very narrow in terms of if you go into these places, that's for sure where you're going to be successful. I think there is more successful players throughout this country, and you can see that throughout the youth team selections. But also look at the diaspora that will get players to play through. Right, you'll see youth players will say, yes, we could play for Canada, but whether it's another CONCACAF nation, whether it's using their European heritage or their international heritage and playing there is talent here. The question is, are we giving them the different pathways, and are those pathways successful enough for them? But for Quebec, I think it's long overdue. It'll cut down the travel so much, because again, you just had Halifax at one end and then nothing, and just having a team there. I've been championing for years, saying just go to Moncton. There's a stadium right there. Just go to Moncton. Okay, they built it for something. They want, and I think that will be exciting. But Quebec getting a team, I think, is great. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, the league goes to 9. It doesn't stay at 8, because Valor. I asked someone this: what would be more successful? Would it be if, say, a Canadian team wins the Canadian Championship, or if Valor makes the playoff? What matters more to the CPL, right? You can argue either or, but I think you need Valor to have a good year. I think you need Valor to make the playoffs to say, hey guys, see, we're viable here. We're doing a thing. Though, I mean, the idea of a CPL team winning the Canadian Championship is a great headline. I think for the league, you need all of your teams to be viable. And I think Valor's just that one that's kind of just there. What do you think about something like that?
Yeah, I'd say you're right. I think eventually we need to see Valor do something or have a playoff push. They don't have to exactly make the playoffs, but like show that they're competing for a spot in the playoffs. Because if you have a team that keeps dragging back every single year and proving themselves not good enough, something's wrong. Something's an outlier there. And yes, they've had talent come into Winnipeg, into Valor. They've had players leave the club that have been very good as well. And it just hasn't seemed to click, whether it's the manager, whether it's the club, whether it's the tactics. Something hasn't gone right at Valor year on year on year. And they need to have that successful season, because eventually they might be looked to be a club that gets moved to Kelowna. They might be a club to get looked to move to Saskatoon, Regina, or could be even to Ontario or Quebec. Like, they might be on the verge of being exiled or exited. And I completely agree that they're the team who has to do something, because with the Canadian Championship, we've already seen that CPL teams can knock off MLS sides. CPL teams can play well against Liga MX teams. They've proven themselves at the top level in this continent, and it's only a matter of time till Forge, Cavalry, even Vancouver FC this year could win the Canadian Championship. That's not even close to out of the realm of possibility right now. And I wouldn't go as far as saying it's almost 90% chance that it could happen this season. Like, it's a very high chance we could see a CPL team win the Canadian Championship, which is something that is needed for the league. Like, it's, of course, something that has to happen sooner or later. It can't just keep getting MLS. We need to see a CPL team win it. But I do agree that Valor having success at some sort of level, even if it's just showing that they can have a season where they finish one place out of the playoffs or have a good run at some point in the year, is major for the success of the league, because you can't just have a team that continues to fail every single year.
No, that is true, because we saw that with Edmonton as well, and that was unfortunate because it was Bridges. But again, nothing. I don't think I disagree with anything you do say there. I think it's a great step forward. It's a good moment here. I wonder because I've even wondered, like, for like the NSL, when do they want to expand? Do they want to expand next year? You have all the eyes of the World Cup. You're looking for other footy to check out. You're looking for Canadian footy to check out while you're waiting in between games, which would be that could be quite the clever play. That's like, hey, you could pay, $2,000 to go see a World Cup game, or you could see your neighbors play in our league, and it's you get a whole league, you get a whole summer set for that. So I'm curious to see what both domestic leagues try to do to take advantage of the World Cup coming next year. But again, they do need that public, that interest. And I think getting teams to do well in those markets which are struggling can only help you do that. No, that's not what we came here to talk about. We came to talk about transfers. You've been covering a lot of the transfers that are happening for CANMNT players. There's a lot of big headline ones. We saw Joe David finally move. To be honest, I was just emotionally ready for him to go back to Lille until he put out the guys, thank you, but I'm just not coming back. But Joe David to Juve, we have Tejan officially at Villarreal, potentially Tanny at Villarreal, which is intriguing to me. I figured he'd make a move. I didn't think Villarreal. That's a lot higher. I mentioned the big ones, but are there any transfers that you think are sneakily good out there for Canadian players moving across, whether it's in the MLS or even moving across the pond in Europe?
I think Nico Seeger is the obvious one. I mean, if we're talking about ones that could happen, I think that's a very exciting potential one because that is a player who has attracted a lot of excitement throughout Canadians and probably casual Canadians who started to watch us recently. And he's a player who can play in multiple different positions. But Jesse Marsh also just talked about how he's desperate to leave Hajduk Split, how he's looking to move to the Bundesliga or even another league in a top destination. And if he can make a move to the Bundesliga and get a side where he starts regularly, that is probably the most exciting move for me because that is a position that is really up for grabs besides Stefan Eustáquio right now, whether it's Ismail Kone, whether it's Nathan Saliba, whether it's Nico Seeger. Those players are all making very exciting moves. Both Seeger, Ismail Kone, Nathan Saliba. It's a very talented midfield group we have now. We looked at the midfield at one point as arguably our weakest position in depth-wise, and now it arguably could be the strongest right now. And with Nico Seeger going to the Bundesliga, it really depends on what club he goes to, but I could see that being the most exciting one. And for me, I think the best one currently is not David, it's not Tajon Buchanan. I'd have to say it's Nathan Saliba. I think he could really rise to the occasion with Anderlecht. He's joined a massive club in Belgium with high expectations, wanting to win the league. And he's already started off very well. Yes, he had to get taken off early in one game, but his whole team was playing abysmally. He has 2 goals already with Anderlecht, both off of corners. And he is showing his ability, both attacking, defensively. He has been very consistent when given his chance. And he has started on a regular basis for Anderlecht and has been getting very good minutes for a team that I personally didn't know if he would start immediately for this team or get consistent minutes immediately, but he stepped in for a decent fee that was paid towards CF Montreal, and he's really shown that he is that guy that can help Anderlecht hopefully push towards the title.
I think that's a good shout for Saliba. I think he's a player that maybe we're not saying is the next big thing, but he's the next one that we're kind of excited for. In terms of that, I like the shouts with those other sides. We looked at, let's go position by position. We might as well just do that funly in that sense. Let's start from the back, goalkeepers, and we'll mention the players that we already talked about. But Dane isn't moving. A lot of intrigue with Sirois moving from CF Montreal. You even saw Montreal get another goalie, which kind of is where it's the papal smoke. Something's coming. Like the smoke is up. Something is coming. We don't know what it is. But when you look at a player like Sirois, who maybe doesn't have the same size of a Dane St. Clair, for you, is there a league you think would be a good stepping stone for him for development, if not just development, but also trying to work his way to be goalie 3, getting into the World Cup year?
Well, I think there's been the obvious links right now to the French league, not to the Ligue 1, but to Ligue 2 to play with Montpellier. There's also been links to Cardiff City, and I want to say another side within the English pyramid, but I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was. But the Belgian league and the Ligue 2 are very intriguing to me, but not joining a side lower down in Ligue 2 because that would be not too inspiring for Jonathan Sirois in a World Cup year, in a big year for himself, and especially moving to Europe. I think going to Montpellier is such a very smart move for Jonathan Sirois because it's a side that's going to be challenging at the top end of the league. They're going to be looking to win the league and bounce straight back into the first division of French football, but also he has a very good team in front of them that they can build on. They can structure around Jonathan Sirois. And if he gets this starting job, which if he does join Montpellier, he is the immediate clear starter. And since there's been that transfer rumor of him going to Montpellier earlier in the summer and continuing to really snowball throughout the summer after they sold their long-standing goalkeeper and Benjamin Lecomte to Fulham, who's now their backup, he is going to go to Montpellier. And if he gets that move, he will be starting immediately, which is very exciting because there clearly has to be something going on there still with Jonathan Sirois. There's no way they'd sell a experienced top-level French goalkeeper in Lecomte and not have a plan, not have those Jonathan Sirois rumors come to nothing. There's no smoke without a fire, and I think there has to be something brewing there with Jonathan Sirois to Montpellier, and a side that he could start immediately, be in a decent division within Europe, a club that has a lot of expectations this year and could win a piece of European silverware. And it wouldn't surprise me with the form of Crépeau, with Dane St. Clair as well. Both of them have been very shaky, making some mistakes in the MLS. There is an argument that Jonathan Sirois could work his way into a starting role for this Canadian men's national team. I'm not saying he will, but if he can start regularly in Europe and plays it very well, it could be an option for this Canadian men's national team in a position of major uncertainty.
It could be. I mean, I think he would have to go on a torrid run of form for that to happen. I think right now, I think it is St. Clair still, based off of how I think they've given him, and even if you look at the Gold Cup and how it ran, I don't think he was well. He wasn't particularly poor. He just wasn't excellent, right? He was Dane St. Clair, but I think I had more issues with how the team was set up versus how the goalie performed. Because, I mean, in many ways, you leave the goalie to dry sometimes how you're playing, right? It's to use the hockey analogy, it feels very much run and gun, where it's like, look, it's the Sabres minus the defense. It's the 05, 06, 06, 07 Sabres, where they're like, we're going to be up and down, and Ryan Miller, you're going to have to make a save every once in a while. And you did most of the time. But that's how I feel about with St. Clair with Canada. So it's not, I can see, is there a possibility that he doesn't start St. Clair for the World Cup? Yes. There's 4 friendlies left this year. But then also there's his club form. He's just been the most consistent at club at the MLS and at that level. Unless you have like a name like Owen Goodman, who just gets into great form and it's undeniable. Right, I don't see that, and Sirois was at that level and couldn't crack through because you got Crépeau ahead of him, which I will continue to say I feel like that injury really held him back. If he doesn't get that injury, I think he's probably your 1A in Qatar. But I'm curious to see how that goes. Are there any other goalies that you're intrigued by their moves, not moves, or just kind of watching this year?
I mean, Owen Goodman's very interesting. I mean, we've had the news about him not being eligible from Jesse Marsh, which we can get into if you. But his loan move is a very interesting one because he's had a lot of speculation around him, right? He's expressed his interest already to represent Canada on the national team level. He has gone out there and had statements. His father, I'm pretty sure, has had statements as well to represent Canada. And for me, his loan move is very exciting from Crystal Palace, away on loan, which he has made to now an upgraded division for himself within the English pyramid. But joining Huddersfield is a side where he's going to get opportunity. He's going to start on a weekly basis. He'll face a lot of shots as well. It's a side where he should be able to continue to jump up in the leagues within the English pyramid and still have that opportunity to prove himself. And in the future with Crystal Palace, there might be maybe a potential outlet. Dean Henderson moves on a couple years' time. Owen Goodman could be looked upon as a starter. That is a distant future opportunity, but there's a pathway there for Owen Goodman. I think it's a very exciting loan move for him, which could flourish into more for Owen Goodman because he's got the potential to really move on from this loan move. And if Canada can't get his eligibility, I really do expect that to be a major missed opportunity, whatever the case is there.
No, I would agree. I mean, the African flag in me is just like, go to Nigeria, do it, Owen. If he can't go to Canada, go there. They need a goalie. But again, leaving that aside, I think that's a great move for him. When you look at the back line now, right? We saw Joel Waterman get moved by Montreal, which was, I mean, again, the papal smoke is up in Montreal. Something is happening. We have those center backs, and I think at this point, I said this last year, I think your 4 center backs going to the World Cup, your top 4 are Bombito, Cornelius, Knight LaBelle, and DeFougerolles. I think those are your 4, and there's maybe a 5th spot available depending on what happens with squad sizes. Would Waterman be your number 5?
At this moment in time, I'd have to say yes, but it's difficult to break between him and Kamal Miller on what Jesse Marsh will go with, because they're both in decent form, I guess you could say, for either of them. It's hard to tell with Joel Waterman because he's been on such a poor team for so many years, because CF Montreal have been floundering at the bottom of MLS for many years now, which is very unfortunate for him, but he's still he gets a lot of hate towards his way, Joel Waterman. He doesn't get the positive vibes that I think he should. He's still a reliable center back. Yes, he has a mistake in him, but as a 5th solid choice of a center back, I think that's a very strong choice. He has a lot of leadership characteristics. He's been with this program for a long time now. He's one of those players who has been through the Canadian ranks, right? He went through the CPL, joined the positive days of CF Montreal as well, and rode the ugly days now as well. So I think for me, he is the solid 5th choice center back. He's not going to get any minutes. He's there if there's an absolute crisis, but he is there as a leadership role going in the World Cup. And the only other outside shout, because I really don't want to see Kamal Miller on this squad, no offense to him, but his time is over for me on this roster, is the young center back from Kilmarnock in Ethan Brown. I think he could have a really standout season with them, especially if he's starting regularly at his age. He's a very young player. He's a very talented center back. And if he can continue to prove himself on a weekly basis, but also having big games against Celtic, against Rangers and Hearts, maybe he can bolster his stock. Who knows? It could be very interesting to see with him as well. But I think, like you say, that center back group is kind of just nailed on right now.
But it is Wednesday, and unfortunately, before we recorded, we saw Alistair Johnson get stretchered off. I was information overload in between trying to find video clips and editing. It was like, I can't. And then I see him on the thing like this. I can't. But it looks like it's a hamstring injury, which probably means he won't be available for September 5th against Wales. And I'm just assuming he won't be available for September 5th against Wales and September 9th against Romania. That's just the other way around, but whatever. Question. We look at the fullbacks, and the fullbacks are always a position that I'm always looking and saying, we're not as good as we think, guys. Davies won't be there. Johnson won't be there, which means now you have to rely on a Richie Larea. Sam Adekubi won't be there as well. So Richie, probably Nico Seeger playing there. Zorhan Basong season, we're back in the game. I saw this name who got a loan move this year in the MLS, and it's kind of gone under the radar because we're in Canada and he plays in the States, so we're just like, I guess he's doing all right. But Jaquil Marshall-Rutty, playing at Charlotte, he had some good moments during Leagues Cup. Boo, Leagues Cup. But like, when you look at a player like that, how have you kind of watched him so far this year? And the move, he's gotten minutes. He's playing with Zaha and other good players, so he's getting some good run. Do you think that he's a player that just because of injuries, he is pushing closer to getting that call up, or is he a player that you think let him finish the season and maybe it's a 2026 conversation to get into how he starts the year? Where do you look at a player like that?
I think for Malone, he should be getting a look in. I think the way he's played for Charlotte, yes, he hasn't been great every single game he's been in, but he has still been consistently a good performer. And I'm not someone who's going to say I've watched him religiously at the club, because it's very difficult for us to watch Charlotte all the time. But I have seen a few of his matches, and watch highlights as well. And he has done pretty well. And what I've seen from him has been impressive. And before at Montreal, at Toronto, we saw him on the right back side, on the other side of the football pitch or back line. We've seen him further up the pitch. Like you said, he's playing with Wilfried Zaha. He's playing with a very exciting side right now. And he is consistently in that starting 11. While a CF Montreal side struggled to get in that starting 11. Sometimes footballers just need a change of scenery. Sometimes they just need a new club or a manager that backs them. And it looks like Jaquil Marshall-Rutty has finally found that. I know you're a big supporter of Jaquil Marshall-Rutty. You've always been. Every video you're backing him to get in the squad. And for these friendlies, I think it's a mix of everything. His form's in the right place. Injuries have crept up at the right opportunity for him. No one wants injuries, but sometimes they can be a blessing in disguise for some footballers. And this might just be the right chance for Jaquil Marshall-Rutty to get that call-up. He gets a call-up with Zoran Basong. Great tandem. Great opportunity for both of them to prove themselves. And Jaquil Marshall-Rutty finally gets that opportunity in the national team level with Jesse Marsh, seeing him firsthand, getting the reps and proving himself in this starting team in a level at training. And if he can consistently train at a high level, Jesse Marsh might be quite happy, and there might be the call-ups again. There might be the more look-ins again, because left back, as we've talked about on many of times, might just be our weakest position on the football pitch. Outside of Alfonso Davies, of course, the best player in the continent. So if Jaquil Marshall-Rutty can step up to that opportunity, I think everything's kind of fallen into place for him to get that call-up. But I'm still a huge, heavy supporter of Matteo Di Brienne, which we can also talk about if you want. And I think should perfect. Great timing, I guess. We're on left backs, right? I mean, he got that transfer to Gais in Sweden, and he's, I want to say, a goal and assist, or he actually has like few goal contributions. Like, he has been playing consistently very well in a Gais side that has played well as well. So I think that's a very exciting shout to look at, even for Jesse Marsh. I'm not sure if he's had a talk with Matteo Di Brienne. I'm not sure if Matteo Di Brienne's even getting a look in at the national team level, but I think it's a great opportunity. And the friendlies are also in Europe.
Oh, thank you. Yes, agreed. You're in Europe. When in Rome, do what the Romans do. I'm a big proponent of, look, you want to bring your best teams. Yes, I understand that. But you're already there. Just bring someone over. Go Sweden, Denmark, France, Europe, England. They're a quick flight. Just hop on over, see what it is. And I think that's the best time to see players like that. So I am on that. I know I just cut you off there, but no.
That's totally fine.
When you're in Europe, see as many as you can, because Canada's in that opportunity where they get to see as many players as they want in these low risk, they're low stakes, high opportunity games is what those friendlies are, right? They're not playing for anything other than prepping for the World Cup. But every time you get on the pitch, you give yourself the opportunity to say, hey, maybe March, maybe in December. And right now you only have so many auditions, right? There's those 4 games this year, maybe a couple next year, and then you're at the World Cup. So a call-up means anything. And do I think a Matteo Di Brienne will make the team? No, if they're all healthy. But if they're all healthy is why we're having this conversation. So if he gets that opportunity, I think if he takes it and runs with it, I think he gets called in to be that fullback number 5 or 4, depending on what the depth chart looks at. But I think that's a very good shout for players that are there. And I think it's a good player to keep an eye on. Maybe not on our radar, or maybe not on the radar for some of us, but it's a good one for us to keep an eye out, because I think he could, based off what the fullback depth is, because it's Zoran Basong, and Zoran hasn't really been playing too much this year, but he's getting national team call-ups by no fault of his own. It's who the coach prefers. But if you have players who are playing great form, get them in, see what they can do, and then go from there. It's a good shout for Matteo there. We talked midfielders already. Saliba's looking good. Also, shout out to Mathieu Choignard. I mean, tough life he's living. Now he's got to play in LA. Son's there now. It's a tough life he's living. Just
stressful, I tell you.
Stress. I mean, the traffic is terrible, but the company is great. The company is great. But you're looking at that midfield. We have Kone moving to the Italian. I just forgot the name that he went to. And we're gonna, because we're real people. Sassuolo, thank you.
Too many clubs.
There's too many moves, too many clubs. But right now, if you look at the midfield, I think Stacchio is for sure as close to penned in as you can be. He's penciled in and he lost the eraser. It's the other spot, which is up for grabs, whether it's a Saliba, whether it's a Seeger, whether it's a Chouanière, whether it's a Kone. Who has the most to gain off of their moves this summer to kind of cement themselves as midfielder number 2?
That's a loaded question because all three of these guys, like we said, are getting moves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd probably say Kone. Kone has the most talent. He was someone who was basically a lock previously under other management. And yes, he hasn't been a lock under Jesse Marsh for some time, but we know the talent Kone has. We know he can be a game changer with the way he strikes a ball, the passing ability, the dribbling ability. How he can just glide through the midfield at times. And if he can get back to the way he was playing at Watford at times and the way he has at club level, this could be Ismail Kone's year, and he could be a game changer for the Canadian men's national team. But on the other hand, you have someone like Nathan Saliba, who is so disciplined, who works his backside off, who plays great football now, going forwards and backwards, could be a great player to play next to Eustachio. So all three of these guys have so much to gain on different levels. Nico Seeger has by far the most potential, I'd say, out of all three of these midfielders. We all, I think, could probably agree on that. And if he joins a side in the Bundesliga, has a fantastic year, he could be starting here as well next one. This is a great position for Canada now and such a amazing headache, which you don't get to really say that often in life, an amazing headache that Jesse Marsh has in his way. I don't know which way he's going to go. I don't know who he would choose at the World Cup to play next to Stefan Eustachio. This is the right Canadian team to now play a 3-man midfield, whispering, but I don't know if he will ever do that since he's so stuck on the 4-4-2. But formation and tactics are another conversation and talk we could have one day. That is our topic in itself, I'm sure. But I'd say the most to gain right now is probably Ismail Kone from an outside perspective right now.
Do you like Marsh basically putting that out there that the player wants to leave the club, right? Because that, I mean, I saw that headline. I saw the headline there, and I haven't watched the clip, but I've seen enough comments. I'll watch it at some point. But just the idea of your national team coach now putting that out there, is that the best for the player, or is that something you'd rather just the player kind of work out themselves behind the scenes and get that going? Like, how do you feel about that? Because to me, I feel like it's a little bit like, it's the equivalent of having like a friend or a parental unit or an agent who speaks too much, and then you come into the locker room like, yo, what your boy just said? You check what your boy just said. So like, I don't know if that really helps in this situation. What about you? How do you feel about that?
I'm probably in the same camp. I'm not a big fan of what Jesse Marsh did there, but I think luckily we already knew Hajduk were moving Seeger out. I think it was kind of already apparent that Hajduk were ready to transfer Seeger out, that they were looking for a club for him. Atalanta's been dangling at the opportunity to sign him, which I don't think he'll go to now. So I think we're lucky that Seeger was almost rumored or expected to leave from Hajduk Split, and their supporters kind of were already pushing that, kind of already knew that from Croatian football. And if he didn't or already wasn't expected to leave, then I'd probably be a little bit more pissed off. Because if it was someone like Stefan Eustachio, where he's still in the club, he's still getting minutes. Yes, there might be the odd speculation of TFC or whatever about Stefan Eustachio. There's never been anything concrete. There's never been a he will leave. But with Seeger, there's been the he will leave. We expect him to leave. When's he going to go? They need the money. So thankfully, everyone kind of knew that already. So it wasn't a big bombshell or blow up. But I think Jesse Morris, to some extent, should probably watch what he says around some transfers, unless he's trying to push him towards a Red Bull Leipzig or something like that, and he has some insider information.
The thing I always forget is like, all right, he may have a stake. He may have just, that loyalty stake that's in him still. That says,
Percentage of the sale or something.
Well, you do what you got to do for the money, right? I respect you for that, but it puts players in a weird spot where it just, again, we've already covered that from there. Midfield. Like, you know what? I'm going to ask you this. What is your ideal midfield pairing? Since, okay, we're going to live in this 4-4-2 world for at least another 2 years, apparently. So who is your ideal pairing in the middle?
That's a tough one. That is a really tough one, because personally, I still think we should play a 3-man midfield, but we're doing the Jesse Marsh formation, so I agree with this. But I would say Stefan Eustáquio, which you've already penciled him in, so I can't really pencil him out because he's locked no matter what. And I would say Nathan Saliba. Personally, I've been won over by Nathan Saliba massively. I only watched him semi-regularly with CF Montreal, and seeing him play for the national team, how well he played for Canada this past summer, one of the bright lights in a very depressing summer as a Canadian men's national team supporter.
It wasn't depressing. It was just disappointing. There's a difference.
Okay,
there's a difference.
No. We had high expectations, but
yeah,
Nathan Saliba made us disappointed and not depressed, and he saved us on this summer. In my opinion, he has really proven that he is ready to carry Canada in big games or help Canada in big games. And I also think in that midfield too, in that pivot, in that Jesse Moore system, with your wingers pushing so high forward, pressing so high, with your midfield having to be energetic as well, also good on the ball. Nathan Saliba has also shown that he's able to go front and back, and also has that Energizer Bunny that he's able to do it all. Like, he is the jack of all trades in the midfield. He is a modern day midfielder, and he can also score from any type of situation. With Anderlecht, we've already said he scored 2 goals off corners. For Canada, he practically scored off a corner. Like, he has become the whole package. And for me, it should be Nathan Saliba, but I don't care who anyone says, if it's Eustáquio, if it's Kone, Seager, Saliba, it's got to be any of those 4 or 5 or whatever, and I'm completely happy. Choinière has kind of pushed his way out of this pile, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I think he's that depth piece behind all those if there's an injury.
That's fair. I think Eustáquio gives you the most flexibility with the other one. I don't like we saw Choinière and Seager at the Gold Cup. I don't like that pairing, because then your only options are just more offensive type midfielders. I think you can only start one of them. So I'm good with Eustáquio and Seager, because I think they can both wear. I think Saliba or Kone might be the shout for that, depending on how far a player like Choinière has fallen, in which I don't think he's going to fall too far out. Someone who was at his other former club, who has been kind of performing well this year, hasn't been too terrible, Victor Latour at CF Montreal. I'm not saying that he's making the team. I'm curious if he gets a look, because, I mean, there are a few bright spots on that Montreal side. I think he is one of them. Now I'm looking
for the friendlies, you mean?
Yeah, for the friendlies. Yeah.
Then I posed you Justin Smith, who's in Europe.
He's another one. Justin Smith isn't that. Hey, when in Rome, do what the Rome. He's a quick flight. He's a quick flight. Bring him over. I think
gotta save the money where you can, right?
Right. We're hosting the World Cup, man. Like, we got the sparkling water orders are going to be expensive next year, so let's save it a little bit on these bus tickets. But I think for Europe, Justin Smith will be a good call up for that window, and then because we know they're playing in Montreal in October, why not call up Latour? He's not the local kid, but the local blood kid, the good local club kid. What did I just say? You know what? We're leaving that part in for the
72 hours of editing does to, man.
Honestly, blood, sweat, and tears. I just can't. But I think those would be 2 good shouts for both sets of friendlies that go forward. Wingers. Tejan gets the headline, right? Villarreal, that's good. Looks like they're Villarreal. Like I keep on seeing Villarreal just doing things. I'm like, isn't it the Spanish? You know, you guys do go spend your money. Go finish third in La Liga. Do it. But I think for Tejan, that's a good move for him. He had success there before. He's a player who they'll look at him and say, "Hey, go play." I've seen some people say that's expensive for what he has produced, which I mean, wasn't given those opportunities to do so. If you're Inter, hey, you made back your investment in the player, so good for you. But I think it's a big year. I don't know if it's a big year for him per se, because his summer was just that good, right? He's starting this year ahead, right? I know before the summer there was conversations. Well, it's Ahmed, it's a player like it's Ahmed, it's Schaffelberg. Those are the players that I don't think those two. I think those two are squarely on the bench right now, or at least they should be to me, because I think Tejan has proven over the summer he's been the more consistent, and right now at club, Jaden Nelson's the more consistent player for Vancouver. I don't know if he'll get that run because it seems that with every coach, there's a player like, why don't they play them? It's Jade. Jaden's that player right now. Jaden and Promise David are those players. You're like, just give him a chance. But wingers wise, outside of Tejan, are there other ones that you are intrigued by their movements, things of that nature?
I know it's not a move, but Liam Miller. I know
Yes.
he's coming back, right? It's not a move. He hasn't had the time with Hull City since he made that transfer. And the disappointing thing about that transfer is when we look back a year ago, before he got injured and was still deciding on what club to join, it was Hull City and Leeds United. And look where both clubs are now. He could have been in the Premier League with Leeds, and now he's a bottom of the championship type player with Hull City. And if Liam Miller can have a breakout year with Hull, I think it is a huge opportunity. This is a side in Hull who are bottom four championship, have very little expectations this season, are fighting relegation. No one expects them to stay in the championship. And if he can play very well, I think Liam Miller is a starter for this Canadian men's national team. We saw it when we were both there against Panama in that friendly game. He played very well in that game. And he is a midfielder and a left midfielder who has a lot to his game. And his chemistry with Alphonso Davies was starting to become really strong before that injury. And I really do think there is a great opportunity for Liam Miller to continue to work his way into this Canadian team when he comes back. And I think there's a great pathway. And unfortunately, wingers wise, I don't think there was a lot of movement. I think a lot of our movement came up top. I mean, we could classify Daniel Jebison as a winger and talk about his controversy, but I think we'll save that for the next little forward breakdown. If you want to start with that, or
he's not a wing. So why we were having a good time. Now you're bringing up. Let's play our striker as a winger.
He's a left midfielder. We saw it live against Guatemala.
Yeah. The world saw it live. Okay, we all saw it live, and we all have thoughts.
It went very, very interesting.
It was trending. It certainly was trending. In a direction. I don't know.
In the wrong way.
Hey. Credit to the player. He did what the coach asked him to do. Whether or not the player was able to do it is another conversation, but he's coachable. That's good.
You guys can see the steam rising above your head.
He's some may say he's too coachable, but he's coachable. Oh no, that is an interesting. Yeah, I think Liam Miller coming back is the under the radar. It's the trade that you don't make, but they come back from injuries. Like, see, we made moves, activated, and I think that he will be good to watch. Unfortunately, we probably don't see Davies this year. I don't think we see Davies this year. Maybe he's around the team for one of the windows.
But his timeline was November, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's no November window. No. I don't believe.
I don't think so.
See,
it's October and then January. I might be wrong though.
You know what? Let's do what we always do. FIFA windows. All right. Okay, that's the men's. Hold up. Okay, so September. No, there is a November window. We just don't have anything there yet.
I can't imagine he's fit enough to, or Bayern will even let him come back.
That's the more important thing. I don't think Bayern lets him go. I think Bayern are like, look, we'll give him to you for the World Cup as long as he makes it through a year with us. And that'll be the interesting thing to watch with him. But yeah, there is the November one, but I think that's a perfect, hey, do you guys want to go somewhere and do something? That's another perfect travel window. Or yeah, that would be it. Because so there's September, October, November. AFCON is December to January. And then there's March, and then June, and then so the March window, I think, is when we see him next, which will be interesting. Hopefully by then the grass is at BC Place and it stays there. Let me dream. Okay, just let me dream. But other than wingers, the strikers, yes, the strikers are, everyone is striking things, right? Promise is still looking decent in Belgium. Joe David, yes, at Juve, looking great. Kyle Larin still doesn't have a home, or is trying to figure that out. Tanny apparently is going to Villarreal. Villarreal, the official Team Canada of La Liga. We could talk about all those players, but it's just like, and then Instagram trainer controversies. Look, man, the man's trying to get better. What else do you want from the player? He's trying to get better. But like, Tanny going to Villarreal is not something I had in my bingo card.
No.
And again, we're all speculating, assuming someone in the comments will be like, it's official, or you guys are speculating still. It was news today. I'm sorry. It was news today. But I almost don't pay attention to Tanny, not because I don't think he's a good player, because I think he's solidly what he is, right? I'm not too worried about that. The only conversation, I think, if you're looking at this from a 26 standpoint, is it's Daniel Jebison and it's who are fighting for that last spot potentially, right? Because I think Promise makes it. I think Larin is making it. Kyle Larin is in the Lucas Cavallini role of he offers something different, and he's off the bench if you need him. Joe David is there, and then it's Jebison, it's Bear, it's Jason Russell-Rowe. Like, are we missing someone? Is there a dark horse you're saying, look out for this 9? They could do something this year and maybe push up, whether it's transfer or just opportunities. Who do you see? How do you see that 9 kind of pushing out? But before we get to that, Tanny to Villarreal, let's dream a little bit. The Canadians in Spain. Let's talk about this. How do you feel about this?
This is weird. Like you said, it's not on my bingo card. I never expected this to happen. You already knew the strikers that were moving this summer. We thought Jonathan David, Kyle Larin, and that's going to be it. But Tawny out of nowhere is making like a 6.5, 8 million transfer. Like you said, we don't know the exact figures yet, but it seems all but confirmed right now while we're recording, or the day of. And it's been kind of a 2 or 3 day kind of snowball effect that's come to where we are right now. And I'm quite over the moon with this. I didn't expect this. I didn't think he would ever join a side who's in the in the MLS, one of the best goal scorers in the MLS, to, oh, look, I'll be starting for Villarreal in the Champions League. Like, if you would have told me that last year, I would have said, I want some of whatever you're having, because that is, for Tani Oluwase, Tani time, who some of us don't even think should be starting in the national team, to now be playing for Villarreal, arguably the second best club team out of any of our strikers, is mind-blowing to me. This is a guy who's now joining a team who doesn't have a lot of striking options. They have Jose Perez, who's 100% a starter for them, who's played great football. They have Gerard Moreno, who is now 33 years old and is aging. And yes, he's the captain, but he won't be there for a lot longer. Tani isn't young, but he's still hitting his prime and has a lot of years left. And they've sold their striker in Tierno Barry to Everton and also sold Arnaut Danjuma this summer. And another one of their attackers, and Alex Baena. Like, this Villarreal side has lost a lot of attackers and aren't particularly flooded with options up front. They have 2 number 9s. Add Tawny into that. That's 3. And if you're wondering if this man gets a lot of game time, it's going to come. They're going to be in the Copa del Rey. They're going to be in La Liga. They're going to be in the Champions League. There's going to be game time for Tawny in a side that starts a 4-4-2. So, like, 2 number 9s. Tawny, he is in a prime chance of his life. He's going to be living it up in Spain. And I'm sure he's going to be having a better time than another Canadian striker's been having recently. But it's almost like we can figure out who that is. But Tawny is just, I don't know how the stars have aligned this well for Tawny to be wanted by one of the best clubs in Spain. But fair play to him, because this is, if we saw Patrick Agyemang move from MLS to Derby, we're seeing our best striker in the MLS move from Minnesota to the Champions League. So
it's that. I mean, that's a meal of a statement right there. That is a meal of a. And it's funny that you mentioned, like, the amount of times that it's just we're, as Canadian fans, we're arguing with each other, saying, "Well, he shouldn't be starting over this." Look, he's taking advantage. His work rate is there. He's probably one of the most unlucky strikers we've seen in the last few years. He has hit every post. Like the shot against Suriname where he goes post to post. And you're just like, he is just snake bitten. Like, this, sir, he'll give you everything but a goal. And then finally scores against Honduras, and we're like, there he is. We're here. Little did we know that was the highlight of our summer. Well, that's a lie. The Ukraine game was the highlight of the summer. But Honduras felt vindicated. And then, Honduras made the semis, and we made the quarters. And we're still processing this, guys. Canadians are still processing this. The men are, at least. The women are just like, trophies, what? U20s, futsal. We won't talk about the USA game. But, like, there's so much joy in thinking about the player who's just worked hard, and eventually, I don't think he ever imagined, okay, I'm going to play. I'm in Minnesota. I could be going from Minnesota to Spain. Danny, my guy, like, you're living the dream. Just don't stop working, please. Don't stop working. And it's interesting how it's kind of fallen into the players. And then I think Tanny has certainly taken advantage of the opportunity he's gotten. There's no doubt there, because prior to Marsh, I don't think he was making this team prior to Marsh. No, I think we were just like, the guy in Minnesota, okay. The guy in Minnesota, okay. That's cool. But, like, let's be perfectly honest. Marsh prefers Tanny over Promise, because there's something about that pressing ability. If Promise was a little bit faster, I think that would be the thing, even though Promise offers you probably a little bit better in terms of his net front presence. He's shown he can score on his own in the transition, but as a pressing side, I understand why Marsh wants to play with Tandy and Joe David. I may not agree with it, but I understand his logic for what he's trying to do. And if this move goes through, I think that's a great spot for him. I do worry if it's a level slightly too high for him. You don't know until you get there. Now, maybe he doesn't sink, he swims immediately. But I always figured, maybe because I'm just in love with the Belgian league right now, just like, send him to Belgium, let him develop there, and then from there make that move. But if this is the move you're making, you know what? The fact that he has the opportunity to sink or swim speaks A, to the volumes of where we are as a program, good for us, but then also B, how consistent he's been. right? And there is a bit of the Gold Cup was great, a great shining on that. He has a good game against Uruguay at the Copa America, and then he looked decent in his opportunities at Nations League as well. So you can't really fault the player, but I'm intrigued. I guess we can talk about Instagram injuries and stuff. I'm not worried about it. I understand the frustration. I get it. Um, but like Daniel, if I could speak to you, Daniel, just breathe, man. That kid has been on a journey that half of us haven't had to deal with, right? And so I get it's almost as if he has a drive where he's trying to prove not only to himself, but everyone who doubts him in every moment. It's like he's in England, but he's Canadian. So, I mean, that's your choice, apparently, according to them. And then now he's here, and it's like, well, I mean, what do you have that we don't have? We already have a tall, lanky striker. I think he's a player, man. You know how we would talk about like Sam Adekugbe and say, just let him play. Let this kid go and play for a year. I hope this year, when he gets back from injury, he doesn't get jerked around by Bournemouth. He just, because that's the other thing. Like him and a player like Theo Corbiano, right? They are players who their clubs were always pulling them out of spots. Now, is that the player or is that the club? I don't have the inside scoop, so I don't know. But I just hope he gets a full year of just playing and gets to just really be not just a training player, but an important part, because I think he needs that. He hasn't had that really since pre-COVID. And so for me, just let the kid play this year. We'll revisit him in March. Like I'm not saying don't call him up, but just go and play. Just get a good year under your feet, in and out, get the rigors off, shake some of that rust off, which you still have a bit of, even though you trained all of last year, and just keep on showing those glimpses of potential because it's there. You can see the moments. I think in ways I was about to call him Peter Cech. That's not who I want to call him. He's very deliberate in his movement versus just flowing. And so I think he just needs to play and then kind of see what happens and like get that rust off. When you look at Jebison, I know the controversies with the trainer and stuff, but like what would you want to see from him this year as a player?
I think consistent minutes and scoring at a good level now. He's in the championship and he needs to live up to that level of expectation, that level of hype that he is kind of set up for himself in a way. And I think it's there. I think that opportunity is there at Preston North End. But this trainer thing, it doesn't worry me from an attitude, from a mental standpoint. It almost reinforces in my mind that he is determined to prove himself, like you said, at that level, that he is good enough, that he is ready. But the injury itself worries me because when you're looking at Preston, this is right at the start of the season. Yes, he got his preseason. Yes, he got to be a part of the club. But now he gets to miss, a month and a half, around that. That is a good chunk of games for Preston North End. This is a side that, if they start well, is he going to be able to break into that side still ahead of a number 9 who, assuming they do well, is going to have some goals in them? Or if they start poorly, Daniel Jebison comes into the squad, there's a lot of pressure and expectation on a young 21-year-old who's your lone striker from a Premier League side. So either way, this is a difficult injury to maneuver. You almost have to hope for Jebison's sake that either they're doing not so great or they're hovering mid-table, so there's a way for him to break into this team and still have that opportunity to play on a week in and week out basis. Because if they're doing really well, if they're top 5 challenging for the title out of some way or miraculously up there, then he is going to have a really difficult time getting back into the starting 11. But for me, I think 10 goals in the championship is a great return. Hit 10 goals, hit double digits, even across all competitions, whether it's Championship, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. If he is scoring in each competition, if he's helping Preston win matches, if he's playing well, if he's received well by the manager in Paul Heckingbottom, who is a very well-respected manager in terms of English football, who has done a lot, whether it's with Sheffield United or the other sides he's been with, it says a lot about who he is. And if he can come back from this injury, prove himself, I think it's a big season for him. And double digits is probably what I would shoot for Daniel Jebison.
I think that would be a good goal for him. I think all the strikers, you give me double digits, that would be great. But like, yeah, the point about he's missing time and what he walks back into is either more expectations from the player or an impossible situation where he has to wait for someone else to get injured to break in, and then now you have to make the most of your opportunities for however short or long it is. He doesn't get to just be the, you know what, there's 30 minutes left, let's put you on and try to change it up. Now he has to be, nah, we need you. And again, he's 21, and maybe he wants to welcome that pressure onto him, but it's still a lot of pressure. And so, yeah, just play, my guy. Just go and play. Just give me a season, because you deserve a season. Just no more setbacks. You broke your ankle. That sucks. But just get a good year under your belt. I think that is all I'm looking forward for him as we're going through it. Ideally, what is your perfect? Is there a player, if you could circle and say, I am guaranteeing that they have a great season? Is there anyone in particular you're just saying, I need this person to have a great season because X, Y, and Z? Is there anyone that comes to mind for you that you just, again, I'm asking this because it popped in my head. If you had the ability to guarantee it, who are you guaranteeing has probably a great season?
There's probably two that stand out for me. One would be Alphonso Davies. Coming back from an injury, a big injury again. I want him just to get back in that team, get back to top 2 left backs in the world once again, up there with Nuno Mendes. And if he can prove himself under Vincent Kompany once again, that's most important for this Canadian team, is Alphonso Davies playing at his best, at his highest level, because come World Cup, that's going to be who's looked upon for this Canadian national team. That is our captain, that is our star, that is the best player on this continent. When fit, when healthy, is the best player on this continent, hands down. So for me, he has to have the best season. But otherwise, a player that is currently healthy right now, a player that's made a move, it's Tawny. It's got to be Tawny. I think it's like you said, it might be a move too soon. It might be a step up too quickly. But you're joining a Champions League team. You're joining a club nobody in Canada expected you to join. Your rise has been unlike anything we could have expected. And if he can go out there and have double digits with Villarreal, if he can go out there and play consistently well in the starting lineup for Villarreal, he's a locked-on starter, I believe. And he's almost proved it already. And even a move to Villarreal might have just made him a locked-on starter for Jesse Marsh and this Canadian team. So right now, I'd probably say Tony Oluwase would be my must-have a good season right now.
I mean, he's already having a good season.
I guess in a different league.
In a different way. Yeah, he needs to continue. He has to have the Moise Bombito year where he was great at the MLS and then just extend it over. I think that's fair. I think Tani and Joe David are the PR pieces. Like, if they do well, like, that door for Canadians opens more, because it's like, I mean, we found him in Europe. You can find him anywhere. 7 million, 6 mil. What, CPL, is that what it's called? ML. Jaquil, come over. I think that opens a door for them, and for a lot more, in a similar way that the people say, like, successful American players opens the doors for successful Canadian players. I think they do go hand in hand in a bit, because we kind of are always looked at upon in the same breath. I think a player that needs a good season is Ishmael Kone. Kone needs a good season, because it's how many clubs does one go to and not have six? Not that he hasn't had success, but he needs that, the same way that we talk about Jebo, and just like, hey, have a good year. He needs a good year, not only for himself, but to remind everyone, no, this is the talent that we see, right? This is the talent that is out there for the player. So I think Kone is at the top of the list in terms of importance. for aesthetic purposes, give me Joe David going off in the Italian league. You know, just you give me some of that, and then Tanny just for we can have. Hey, Bilbao can have the Williams brothers. We got the T's. We got the T cousins, right? We got Tanny and Tejan killing it. They can have that. But I think for me, those two strikers need to have big years just for the headlines. But for the engine room, I mean, I don't worry about Eustachio, and maybe I should because he's always able to come back in form and do well. But I think Kone has enough pushing him now that if some coaches gives him the opportunity, I think that's there for him to really look great. And if that happens, you have a midfielders who are all in form, who are pushing. You have nines who look good, who are in form and pushing. And then you're figuring out what you're going to do out wide. That left midfield / winger position, it's Liam Miller's to take. No one's really taking it. Schaffelberg's not had a good season this year. And anything short of having the same tired conversation of, is it time that we play Alphonso Davies out wide as a winger? I think it's much more explosive that way. Thank you. Thank you for reacting the way that I do usually when I hear that, because it hurts me. But I think, though, that's where it is. Aesthetically, the nines, but I think practically, if Kone has a good year, that gives you more options and you can play around. And then, hey, if you want to press all game, you can press for 45, or you can press for 60, and then have fresh legs and press for 30. For a system that's so high pressing, they don't sub often. Jesse Marsh, stop being stubborn. I'll get off my soapbox now. Any questions for me? There's
a few we could save, but let's go with surprise. Who do you think is going to be your outside bet for best transfer while we're still here?
Outside bet for best transfer. I think Saliba right now. Just the potential that he's flashed. And he's just, it's not that he's cerebral, right? The technical ability is there, but you see him thinking his way through. He's not going to be like that classic. He's not a Modric by right now or by any means, but you see him, like when you watch him, you see him starting to put it and start to think through. I'm like, okay, no. I remember Adam would always be like, yo, Saliba's coming. I'm like, and now that I watch him, like, I see what you were saying. I understand what you were saying now. And so to me, I think Saliba I think he could be the transfer, because I think Saliba has 2 more transfers left in him, big ones. And I think he does a year, World Cup happens, another year, and then he's off somewhere. So for me, I think that's Saliba. For you, what's the transfer you're most worried about?
Most worried about? See, I didn't see that one coming. Now it's interesting. I think the most worried about one would probably be Daniel Jebbison. With what's going on for him right now, it's just a tough situation. And another one would be Jonathan David. Like, I'm not worried about it, but like it has the opportunity to go wrong. But I just don't think it can go so wrong that he jumps down to a really low club. Like if Jonathan David's transfer goes wrong, he stays at a club around the level of Juventus, of Inter Milan, of that sort of ilk. But if Daniel Jebbison's transfer goes wrong, I don't know where he goes next. Does he go MLS? Where does he go? Like, that's the big thing. And like I just see like some of those striker transfers could go wrong. But actually, changing it from Jebbison, I think it could be Kyle Larin. Since we're thinking about that, I think Kyle Larin could go really wrong. I don't know where he's going yet. It sounds like he's going to stay in Spain, and I'm not sure what club he'll join. I know there's been links to Valencia. I know there's been links to Getafe, but it's been his wage that's been an issue, and he's got to drop it. But as much as I want to see him stay in Spain, he really needs to find that club for him and the right fit. But at the same time, I'm not really a fan of some of our CANMNT stars in some sense going back to the MLS. But Kyle Larin going to the MLS might make sense to me. And Tawny might have just opened up a spot for Kyle Larin. I don't know if they have DP slots or MLS still confuses me, but I don't know if they have that spot for Kyle Larin available. And with selling a Canadian striker in Tony Oluwase, you bring in that kind of money. Why don't they go in and buy Kyle Larin? I've never been a fan of this, of like Canadians returning to the MLS too soon or whatever, but it kind of just, it almost lines up right. He joins one of the top teams in the MLS. He joins a side that scores goals or can score goals. And a side that desperately will now need a number 9 after losing one of the best in the league. So I don't know. I just kind of feel like there's a correlation there. It kind of just struck my mind, but I think it could go wrong if he stays in Spain or depending on the club he joins in Spain.
I think it's a fair point to bring up. I wonder where he does go. I don't know if it's funny listening to, like, I don't know, the coming back to MLS too soon conversations. We sound so much like USMNT in the mid 2000s, in the 2010s, where it's like Bradley and Altidore coming back too soon, man. What are we doing? And it's like, oh, still playing at a decent level. I understand why you don't want them to come back too soon. And I think for Larin's not necessarily in his prime. He's at the tail end of his prime. Yeah. So you don't worry about that too much. And if he goes to Charlotte, we can finally put to rest the millions of he's going to TFC, boys. He's the 9 who's just let it just sizzle out. I'd rather us, TFC point. Let's play the kids for the rest of the year. Let's see what we got in TFC 2. But I think the MLS shouldn't be a terrible choice for him. I think it's fit for him. Is Charlotte the right team for him? Perhaps. He is a player who can be. When he's hot, and when he's not, he's not. So maybe Charlotte does work, but then we've seen, like, he's not scoring coast-to-coast goals where he's running through the center backs to get a goal. We saw that in World Cup qualifiers.
What about Minnesota, though? Do you think he'd go there?
They're not I think he can do well there. I think Larin sometimes gets mislabeled right now because for Canada, everyone is just so fleet of foot, right? Everyone, it's pressing, and it's like different sport analogy. He's the wide receiver in the room who has like a 4-5, and everyone else runs 4-2s, and it's like he's just too slow for us. It's like, well, yeah, compared to them, but like what he's asked, we've seen him in transition against Morocco. We saw him and Junior Hoylett just say, "Hey, let's try to create a shot," and they did. And so I think he can do well in Minnesota. It'll change a little bit how Minnesota wants to play, but you're not sending Kyle Larin to run through the center backs from the entire pitch. That's not his game. But if you're trying to play in that sense where, you're defending, he's a holdup who can release a Yeboah, then he's on a secondary run there. I think that can work. So yeah, Charlotte is definitely an option. Or any other team that wants to either play fully in possession, or we've seen him do it all. So I don't think there's any fear for him going to the MLS. The question is, does he want to come back? Does he feel that he needs to play consistently? Yeah. Does he feel he needs to play consistently? Because I don't think his World Cup slot isn't in jeopardy, in my opinion. I don't think it ever will be. The closest we can get to it is Cash Theo-Bear and Jason Russell-Rowe catching fire. And then it's like, well, we can move Daniel because he's still recovering, but everyone else is scoring. So I think if those two catch fire, it's a different conversation. But right now, I think he's in Toronto for one game and in Vancouver for at least 2 more. So that's how I feel with Larin. That's right now. We're in the 80th minute, sir. Well, roughly 5 minutes. About there. We're gonna Uganda and ref this, call this early, or we're gonna keep it going.
That's up to you, partner.
This is true. This is up to me.
We're not on it's not a 9 to 5 here. This is all.
Listen, I feel committed to bring the. As I've been looking up, I've just been looking up different Canadian players because transfer market is is fun. Shout out to Armand Wilson from Kleinburg, Ontario, who's playing in the Finnish league. They had a Champions Conference League matchup, and he got his debut there. So congrats to him, 23-year-old, out of Kleinburg, Ontario, which I found out is not far from me. So great. Shout out to him. But no, I'm well, maybe. What? He had a move. Let's talk some Brim. Let's talk some Brim.
What you're just discarding him, so I didn't want to,
Listen, unlike other people, I don't believe he only shows up against Dutch second league competition. I think he's a good player. But like, how far is he? We feel so removed from that first camp, right? Where you had Ike Ugbo. I know. Name of the program.
Yeah, he scored recently. Let's go.
He did.
Respect his name.
And then what's it called? Junior Hoylett had a good Junior Hoylett when in Rome. Send a bus ticket. But like Charles-André Brim has always just been a player who just feels he's just permanently on the cusp. He always feels like he's a player out, like he's just one player out. He's number 27 all the time. He's number 24 all the time. He's number 31 if you're bringing 30. He feels like that player. And see, now I'm going to look him up. Now I need to look him up because who else was I looking up? Other people. Shafiq Wilson.
Pebble?
I don't think Pebble's going to get
No,
it.
he's way too far out of it, but he made a transfer.
That he did. Charles-André Brim. I always forget that he's entering his. You always forget that he's 27. He's a 98. Like you're like, oh, right. He's the. This is a terrible comparison. To me, he feels like Jesse Lingard, where it's just like, yeah, Lingard's been here forever, and then you're like, oh, he's 32. Oh, see, I thought he was like 20. We've been talking about him for years. I thought he was like 17 the whole time, but he's 32. Huh. Charles-André Brim can play across the front line.
I don't think he's fit till early September, mid-September, if I recall correctly. He hasn't started yet.
That is true. And so, like, again, that's maybe a November window, potentially, where you're going to put that. Because if they're playing in Canada in November, you're not going to have those opportunities. Unless they try to do... Because CONCACAF matchups... I really don't want CONCACAF matchups in Florida, but I mean, let's be honest, it's going to be CONCACAF matchups in Florida. Unless you convince a CONCACAF team to come to BC.
You have to pay a lot of money for that.
We do.
Unfortunately.
That's true. And actually, but you can't play them here. And you can't play them there. Though playing them there would be interesting.
Where?
Going to either Europe, Asia, or Africa.
Do we have that money?
Hey, it's the window. Because they'd be free. That November window is intriguing because I think Europe is busy. I'm pretty sure Europe is busy.
I think so as well.
Mm-hmm. And CAF World Cup qualifiers finish. They just have the Intercontinental playoffs happening in November, I believe. And so outside of that, hey, I mean,
when was the last time we've been to Africa, though? I don't recall.
Have we ever been to Africa?
I don't know. I don't think so. That's why I was taken back by that shout. I think we should. I don't know if we will.
Well, I mean, now I'd say like a game in Morocco could be fun.
Oh, it definitely could be.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, and it's close enough. I mean, Morocco is just at the tip of Spain, so it's basically a European window. And Morocco is Morocco and
Algeria. No,
No, but then we have to have conversations about who's the best fullback in the world. Because then Ait Nouri is out here being like, "Look, man, I'm free from wolves. Okay, get me in the city," and and then the Penguins there too. So it's like,
it gets
it'd be
confusing.
fun. I think it'd be fun. I think that would be fun, and that would be the ideal location to set up, where you just let's go play there.
Apparently,
But
Canada has played in Africa.
when
According to ChatGPT, this might be wrong, but October 2016, Canada traveled to Africa and took part in two-way international friendlies, faced Mauritania on October 7th and Morocco on October 11th.
what?
Both matches were played in Marrakesh, Morocco.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I'm sorry, what? In what year is this again?
2016.
Okay,
It's according to
transfer
ChatGPT,
market.
so it's not. This is a quick Google search.
Let me tell you, 2016. A
One
20-year-old Sam Adekudbi is on that side. A 21-year-old Sam Piet.
4-0 against Mauritania.
They won.
Tosin Ricketts scored twice. Steven Vittoria and Marcus Haber.
That is the least surprising thing. The Morocco game, I'm already afraid. I am already afraid.
4-0 Morocco.
Yeah, that
ZX scored 2 penalties according to ChatGPT. Let's see if I can get the lineups.
Yeah, I'm oh yeah, it's real.
It is?
It's real. It's we Googled it, it's there. Oof, that's a rough game. Ooh, oh, the lineup for this game. Oh, sir. Oh, you're not looking at this. Tell me who played for Canada in this game. Oh,
Well, I already know 3. Steven Vittoria, Tosin Ricketts, and Marcus Haber.
this is what according to Google. Again,
No.
how reliable is Google? Okay.
Do you want me to get ChatGPT? I got the lineup.
I have the Google lineup here. We're gonna random Canadian facts. This is what we're gonna do. Okay, Sofa. I'm gonna check this up on Sofa Score.
Oh, I got it up on ChatGPT now.
This is the most 2016 lineup ever, honestly. Like
Scott Arfield.
Arfield he's not even listed here.
Oh, see, he's listed on ChatGPT.
This is October 16.
I got October 6th, 2016.
I have October 11th, 20. Is that the Morocco game or the other game?
I'm looking at Mauritania.
Okay, yeah, because Vittoria doesn't play against Morocco, so we're looking at different games. This is
why.
This is fascinating. Maxim Tissot. Yo, let me be young again.
Tissot played both games.
Right. Marco Bustos.
Jonathan Osorio.
Yeah, no surprise. A young Sam Piet.
Simon Thomas in goal.
Eventually, but Milan comes there first.
Oh, okay.
Marcel de Jong. Oh, come on.
Substitutes, you had Fraser Aird.
Yep.
Wow. What a flashback.
This is the most... You know what? But call up the Moroccan FA. We want a rematch. Let's build something.
US Mauritania.
No, not Mauritania. Because this is... You know what? We're just now...
Run back both friendlies.
That's not... Oh, more. You want to play Mauritania? Sir.
Let's do a 17-0 job like we did against the Cayman Islands. 14-0.
14. Mauritania right now they are last in their group for World Cup qualifiers with 2 draws. We're not doing Mauritania.
Needs a confidence booster.
No, there are so many better. Like, I love you, Mauritania. I do. But like, what would be fun? Like, I think an interesting side. I think that should be the plan. We should go to Morocco and be like, we're gonna play Morocco for one game, but let's get someone else who wants to play Morocco and kind of test to see what we have. Because the Ivory Coast game really was there will be more Ivory Coast sides at the World Cup than there will be
Ukraine.
Yes. And I think Ukraine, it's a different. I think Ukraine with a full crowd is a different animal than what they did. But I mean, we talked about this. Cote d'Ivoire were like, oh no, we're here for you guys. We're here for you. Like, we'll try to win the New Zealand game and stuff, but oh no. We're here for you. Like, it's I always see it's Frank Kessie just like running through Kyle Aaron and just laughing as he runs away. I'm like, yes, this is what I want to see how we react to. Adversity was free. Let's see how we react to it. But I think of Morocco and then like anyone.
Nigeria.
I'm trying so hard not to keep on throwing shade at them, but you keep on bringing them up. So thanks a lot, sir. But no, I think Nigeria could be nice. Another team in the group, Rwanda, could be interesting. Like, play me a side that's emerging and is interesting, right? Because some people may not be like, "Oh, Rwanda is why you want to play Rwanda." Rwanda's got a couple baller like
Ghana.
I refuse. No, I want to enjoy the game. I can't do that. Okay, I cannot emotionally enjoy the game if we did that. But let's go to no. That would kill me. That would kill me. Oh my! I can't do that. I would just sit there and just be like, nobody get hurt. Just nobody get hurt.
Chris,
could you know what's gonna happen? It'll be
Richie Larea goes 2-footed.
If you can't do that, Richie. That's heritage. You can't do that. You know what will happen? Caduce will run into Davies and they'll just be down and I was just like, I can't have night. I can't. Why would you do this to me? Why would you do this to me? Yeah, like but that type of a side would be a good side. Like, play in Morocco. I think that's good because you'll sell that out. That'll be great. And then honestly, like if only like Liberia was good, or like you know what I mean? Like, when I wish one of those sides would have been good.
The country's really close.
They could be. Because I'm looking at all now. I'm looking at CAF World Cup qualifiers. I'm like, who could use a game, and also who could use a friendly before AFCON, right? See, now we're just now. See, I was winding down. I was just like, cool, and now I've found my second wind. Thank you so much. Okay, let me find this. Let me find the teams qualified for AFCON. Burkina Faso, fun. Cameroon, fun. DR Congo, ooh, they'd be fun. With Whistle, that'd be good. Senegal, okay, that'd be fun. Okay, Cote d'Ivoire, been there, done that. It won't end well for us. Mali,
We got a point. We got a point.
We got a point. We did get a point. South Africa, okay. Gabon, Aubameyang, we could do that. Angola will be, yeah, there'll be something. Uganda, they're coming. Equatorial Guinea, Comoros, Mozambique, they got some ballers coming in. There is, because like I'm thinking teams who I'm looking at the AFCON teams, but then I'm also looking at, because for World Cup qualifiers, like Mali is, barring a miracle, are done. Burkina Faso could be in. Like, a team like Gambia would be interesting, right? Where they have the talent, but Gambia are basically, what's the CONCACAF equivalent of a team that has all the offensive talent but have none of the defensive discipline?
It's a hard one to compare to, because the lower teams in CONCACAF are so strict defensively.
Mm-hmm. Gambia just have like a lot of offensive players. Just defensively, you're just like, what are you doing? Truthfully. And then, okay,
Jamaica, maybe? Kind of. Defensively, they're a horror show at times.
I don't want to insult African teams by putting them in that same category, but I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're
I think
saying.
they're kind of a backhanded compliment there. Backhanded.
See, and this is gonna go live, so that was gonna be like, yo, watch how you're speaking about my. I know, okay, but this is how I feel some days. Like, yeah, a team like honestly, Gabon. That's like the ideal. Give me Morocco and then Gabon. That's like a November where we're just and we do both games in Morocco, right? We're just chilling there. Everything is simple. If you need to run to Spain, just run up the channel. You're good. Like that would be a nice November window, because barring them playing November in Toronto, because we're not playing in Montreal, that's for sure.
Testament of snow.
I'm sorry, it's not the Snowbird Cup, it's the World Cup. There's a difference there. We're at 90 minutes, but I wasn't even trying to stretch it, but I'm just like, oh, we found so many fun things.
We got some extra time in there as well.
Extra time. Well, I mean, there was a stoppage in the middle of the first half, so I mean,
it was a water break.
Cooling break.
Exactly.
Yes. Things I remember from random games. You know what thought comes to my mind randomly? When Ayo Akinola breaks his leg against the US in the Gold Cup. And I'm just like, and the most annoying thing about this, we didn't even get like a proper foul off of that. Like, it just like the man broke his leg for what? Like, he's never.
Hey, he just made a transfer as well. We can't forget about that.
Ayo.
Guess what country he's in? You found it already.
I just looked him up.
I almost made a video on that one. Almost.
The Swiss second tier. Yeah.
The look of disgust on your face. You tried to bring some positivity to it, and you just couldn't.
My face is a terrible tell. I'm not even trying to be like. I was like, oh, okay. It was just more my reading face, where I'm just like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, he's second tier. Okay. The disappointed father look I got. I was like, I'm not even trying to be disappointed. I'm just trying to read more about the squad. Leave me alone. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's too good. That's too good. Yeah, we're gonna do this again, because I think next time we're gonna do this, we're gonna try to get Andre on, and we'll talk about his depth chart that he has, and we'll kind of go back and forth and kind of see how we would set ourselves up post summer, probably post a few friendlies, looking for the rest of the year. So that's what we'll do next time here. Or as is always, we'll just be like, hey, something happened. I guess we have to talk about it. But if you haven't already, guys, if you're listening to this on YouTube, great way to be productive. If you're listening to this on podcast form, pause that, go to the description, go to OntheRise, hit subscribe. It would be really great if you did so. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the pause button, hit subscribe for him, hit subscribe for me too. Like, I'm trying to get to 2025 by the end of 2025. So we're past halfway point, but we only have like 4 months left. So we're gonna have to haul some 200-month subscriptions, and we can do this, guys. I believe in you. I believe in us. So do that if you like this type of content. When this comes out, we will continue to cover things. I'm halfway through my series on youth, good prospects on the women's team for Canada at the U21 level. I'm just working on the U23, and then I'll get like a haven't been called up in a bit, U25 / haven't been called up in the last 5 years. So make sure you guys go to that. We have friendlies coming up for the men and women in Canada. We have World Cup qualifiers and CAF coming up in September as well, so I'll be busy. And then we have both U17s. The men's and the women's or the boys and the girls U17s are happening this year, October and then November. And I just looked at you know what? No, I'm ADHDing right now, but have you seen the format for the men's U17s?
Yeah.
people, why? What in the? This is like, if they were clever, this could have been like their March Madness. It makes it. It's. I have questions. I'm pulling it up. I don't care. We're pulling this up. We're sharing this. It's like Lane, words. This is terrible for the podcasters. It's just like, what is he? Is he just can't speak? Like, all the groups are set. If you're wondering, again, Canada is in a group with Nigeria because why else? As well as the women are with Nigeria. It's Uganda, Chile, and France. We always play France. So there's up to Group L, and then there's 8 third place finishes. And then we go to the knockout stage where we seed the group winners by how strong they were. Hang on to your hats, people. Clutch your pearls. And then we rank the runners up. So every game matters. And then we have a round of 32. We have a round of 32. And this goes, and then we get a round of 16, and then a quarterfinal, and then a semifinal, and the likes. And it's exciting. I liked it at one point where they were like, oh, it's just going to be like 4 mini tournaments, and then the winners will play each other in a semi and the final, so you can win thing, and then you can win a thing. It's a lot of games, and like, I don't hate it, but just like the first time you seen it, I was just like, why are we doing? You know what, FIFA? Do what you gotta do. That's all good. Do what you gotta do, FIFA. I respect you. I question you, but I respect you for just committing to this. Then all the games happening on the 14th and the 15th, 18th and 19th. And again, according to Wikipedia, the facility is because all these, like, you have to have all these one stadium and then an 8-pitch lovely. This is gonna be amazing. I wonder, like, it's just gonna be amazing. Bonus question: Women's World Cup going to Netflix? Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Can they do it? I mean, Netflix has been trying to be like, look at us doing the sports. And it's not a bad, it could work. But I think, do they have the capacity to really do something at that large of a scale?
I mean, what was it, Jake Paul Tyson? There was a lot of lagginess, a lot of streams failing for that. So, can you imagine for a World Cup? Like, I don't know if they'd be able to, but like, it's a major business idea. Like, it's a very smart move from Netflix.
Mm-hmm. So they have the broadcast rights in Canada and the States and it's like, it's not crazy, right? Because I'm CBC Sports for this here, and it's not crazy, but it's just interesting because, again, exclusive broadcast rights for the US and Canada mirror that deal. They're free to air, but Netflix Reflection Sports Muscle adding 5. Okay, cool. Will it cost? See, this is what. Will it cost me something? Are they banking on the fact that people all have Netflix? Because, listen, people all have Netflix, okay? But I have VPNs, okay? And I will listen to that. I will listen to that English broadcast talking about the beautiful game with my VPN if I have to. I'm curious to see what that looks like, but hey, Netflix. It's the one thing to have a single one-off sporting event or like a one-off game or a thing like that, but being the dedicated face of a event, they have 2 years to clean up everything. It's the Women's World Cup, so they better get their act together, because if not, then I mean, we will all know the issues with it, and we'll be fine. Because that means we don't get it on TSN. That means we have to go through Netflix. There's so many things. We're going extra time. The ref is like holding the whistle, just like, when do I blow? When do I blow? The goalie has taken another fake hamstring injury, and they're just like, end the stream, end the stream. But yeah, that was something that came up interestingly. But yeah, we will talk about that when we get here next. It's been a pleasure, Lay.
As always, is same way.
Indeed, indeed, and the chaos continues and grows. Until next time, guys. Y'all just, I will just stop talking right here.